So we're talking about payment systems right now, and I think this is a good time to transition into something called DashPay, right? Which is
Mm.
something you introduced me, I want to say about a year ago, and I think it's awesome. So I was curious, Joel, can you break down DashPay? And a follow-up question, is DashPay an emergent property of your own experience struggling to pay things with crypto? Like how much does Joel's influence affect the destiny of DashPay? Floor is yours, sir.
So first, before we start, I have to make sure we get the terms right. Are you referring to the wallet that has usernames and stuff in it, or are you referring to the payment function in that wallet?
I was to more of the payment function, but let's break both down. Let's
Yes.
clarify this.
Yes, and there's apologies for some confusion. There's a bunch of different
Yeah.
terms. So Dash Pay is what the Dash wallet has been sort of rebranded to. It just it's just a simple name change. That basically the key part of that is it has some very cool usability features, notably usernames, contact lists, and encrypted metadata. And so you have kind of everything right in there to give like a very social payment experience. So like for example, I if I want to send money to someone, I just look them up in my contact list, just send money to them, and it's private. It's not like a static address where everyone can see where you're going. And then you can say, dinner for, payback for dinner or whatever. And all that's encrypted on the blockchain. So if you lose your phone, whatever, you restore your wallet from its seed, all your who you paid, not just what was that transaction again? You have to look at that address in your Excel spreadsheet or whatever. Like it's all there. So it makes it like an actual usable social payment experience. There's this other feature called Dash Spend, which basically is a sort of catch-all spending feature that we're really kind of layering on a whole bunch of different providers and things to make it so you can actually spend Dash in the real world everywhere. So one thing I have to, I guess, emphasize, and this is a big part in the Dash experience, is Dash has this function called Instant Send, where every transaction that goes out there within about a second, it gets locked and is permanently irreversible. And because it's a proof of work chain at its core, you still do have blocks coming through. But in the proof of work world, a transaction isn't considered semi-final until it's in a block. And then if you don't trust the security of the chain, like what happened with Litecoin and the 13 block reorg, not throwing shade to Litecoin, by the way, just using a recent example, then it's like, well, how many confirmations do you call it this secure? Dash has deterministic finality in 1 second, meaning in 1 second, the transaction cannot be reversed. And if if a conflict with an instant lock shows up in a block, the block will be rejected by the network. And the block, as soon as the first chain block is there's another function called chain locks, which uses all the staked level, the master nodes, will make the block irreversible, kind of almost checkpointed in. So you cannot do a reorg. So Dash is like reorg proof. So all this technical stuff, because I know the Thor chads are smart, and I had to go show a little bit how the sausage is made. All that to mean, in as soon as you see a Dash transaction, it's permanent and you don't have to worry about that. And what that really unlocks is a lot of really cool use cases in the payments thing. So imagine this, right? You want to buy you want to buy something at, let's just say, like Home Depot. You're going to go do a home renovation project. And so you're like, okay, well, how am I going to spend it? Okay, let's get a Home Depot gift card. Okay, so you're running around picking up random items and you're like, how much is this all going to be? And then you might be like, well, to be safe, I'm going to get $100 gift card. I'm going to buy it on my phone, and then it's going to take 5, 10 plus minutes or whatever until you actually get it, because the gift card provider doesn't want to be like, oh, the transaction failed and we got robbed. So then you have to be, all right, it turns out it's 67.89. And so then now you have this dust transaction on the gift card, and you're like, and then eventually it becomes a hassle and you just use fiat instead. So because of Dash's instant finality, you can have a thing where you go up, and this is, again, narrating for my life here, go up to the self-checkout at Home Depot, whatever. You scan all your stuff, says 68.49, and you open Dash Spend, press Home Depot, press 68.49 and hit go. And then you get a barcode and you scan it and you're done. Because you can buy a gift code for the exact amount you need in real time because you can get it that fast, and then just spend the whole thing, and then you're done. And then the receipt for all that is, of course, encrypted on the Dash blockchain because of the encrypted metadata feature, and then you're all good. So because of this feature, it's starting out with gift cards, but there's other things too. You can basically spend Dash at real, like 150,000 merchants around the US to start out with, in that kind of very smooth experience. Now, you can also do this with something like Bitrefill, for example, although Bitrefill has a little bit more of a clunky experience. I'm trying to get that in the wallet as well. And we're going to compound this with other things, because then that's kind of the ultimate hack of today. But the hack of tomorrow is there's a lot of apps that kind of abstract a lot of things away where you can just scan a QR code and then pay. But basically, we're creating the spend all feature so this can replace your bank. That you can have a self-custodial wallet that you don't have to use banking rails at all, and you can just spend wherever you want in most places in the world. And we're getting a lot closer than you'd think to that.
I love it. I love it. And, Kenton, this is why I asked this question, is because, the thing that I really loved and it really surprised me is that that's a huge amount of vendors. I mean, that's real network effects right there. And I think, honestly, Dash is owes so much to you, man, because you walk the walk, and especially this 1 second finality stuff. I mean, it sounds obvious when you explain it, but I really think it's because of your personal experience, the issues that you found, it's just something that you experienced. It becomes so obvious, your contribution is really just makes it so bullish. That's why, like, if anyone's listening to this and you don't know about Dash or you've never used it, I highly recommend trying it out, because it's people like Joël that has really walked the walk, has made this infrastructure so powerful and because 1 second finality, that's better than cards right now. It takes longer than that when I swipe my card or anything. It's already faster.
And
Right?
let me
That's awesome.
kind of go a little deeper on that, because the finality thing has kind of changed in recent times too, not from the Dash perspective, but other modern blockchains now have some very fast blocks. Like you have what is Solana, like 400 milliseconds, 300 milliseconds, something like that. All those operate under something called, again, here's the nerd stuff coming out, optimistic finality, where you get a confirmation immediately and you're like, all right, that's good enough. We'll accept it. But really, it's like a 90%. It's not like all the way. And it takes, even though you have super fast blocks, it takes several blocks before you're like, okay, this is really never getting reversed. This is not getting reorged. And so if you want absolute finality, like to where this is never going anywhere, Dash is still faster than almost everything on the market. Where there are some other ones like Nano that are very fast with deterministic finality that might be faster. But as far as like the modern chains of like, let's say like Caspa or Kwai or some of those modern sort of sharded chains, very fast blocks, but they're like, well, you still want like 10 seconds before it's final. And 10 seconds it's pretty good. Like I'm not gonna complain about it, but think about you're buying something in a store. Think about making eye contact with the cashier for
Yeah,
10 long
exactly.
agonizing seconds. Anything more than 3 seconds starts to hurt. So that's kind of where it goes. And of course, Dash invented instant finality back in 2014. Like these are the only thing that came kind of earlier was like XRP, but that's like 3-second finality. And again, hit pay. Ready? 1, 2, 3. That's
I
not
feel like we should.
so instant.
Honestly, I feel like right now we should demonstrate a 10-second silence on the podcast, just how uncomfortable that would be. That's so true, man.
Yes.
That's a good point.
And there are tricks, like I'm sure you scanned your tap to card or something and it did the little loading thing, approved all the stuff. It took probably 8 seconds at one point. Some point of sale systems are different. So you have had to wait that, but like sometimes you go beep and it's like, and you start to sweat, like, is it going to get declined? If you don't have something within 6 seconds, you start to be like, so nice weather, huh? Like you start to get nervous.
I'll kick it to you, Kenton.
So this instant finality, so you're saying it's like less than a second?
It's about a second. It's like
about a second.
1.2. Now, here's where you start to get like comparative, because again, when there's very differently architected systems, the apples to apples is a little different. But if you have an unconfirmed Dash transaction, meaning it shows up in the local mempool of the nodes, within, let's say, 200 milliseconds or whatever it is, that, in my opinion, is the equivalent of like a Solana confirmation, right? But so you get to full permanent finality because the odds that someone can send a transaction out and it can be double spent or changed in 3/4 of a second, like you have that window to like screw it up before it's permanent, is just like so astronomically low that I would consider as soon as you see a Dash transaction, it's done. Now, within 1.2 seconds, you have the actual instant lock on it. You can see on a block explorer like block chair, for example, and that means it just cannot be reversed.